Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video, I'm going to be going over the UI with the new Toyota product. If you want me to do this for other vehicles, let me know in the comment section below. The reason I'm doing this is because in my reviews, I'm not able to actually go over this stuff in too much detail because my videos are supposed to be 8 to 12 minutes in total length. So just let me know on that, and with that being said, let's get right into it. So the first bit of tech is the camera rear view mirror. You can see I have it on currently. If I want it off, just push the tab back. You can see the garage door openers are right there at the bottom, built in, by the way. But yeah, you just pull that forward. It's very simple. Now the next bit is the infotainment system. So you notice that we've got this shortcut bar here on the side and it has different tabs. First of which is the navigation, and again, Toyota's very straightforward with everything. Just press get started and you can go through all that and have nav, and you can also have the navigation show here in the center with the digital gauge cluster. I'll show that a little bit later. But you've got the music tab here, and I think this one's also relatively self-explanatory. So if I want to go into FM radio, for example, then I can do that. And then you have a back button there at the top, which is very user-friendly. You can set your favorites here, so you can just click through to the channels that you use the most often. I actually don't use my radio at all. These are presets from the previous owner, funny enough. The next one is going to be the phone tab, connect a device, and it's normal Bluetooth. You've got a little voice command button here on the steering wheel that you can use to access your phone, and then you have a little phone button there to answer stuff. So they've made that very user-friendly as well here on the screen and then on the steering wheel. Now the vehicle tab has quite a bit more going on. So the climate side of things, basically you've got your front and your rear climate. You can customize all of that. And then you can put it into eco mode as well. And again, you can press the back button to go back to the beginning, or you can press that little tab button. Now trim information basically just shows you your fuel economy, driving history, all of that. And you can clear it if you want. Toyota will never clear it. I'm just kidding. Well, kind of. Car manufacturers track everything nowadays. Anyways, you can see here, it lets you know what's happening from an off-road status standpoint, pitch and roll right there. And then finally your vehicle alert. This is basically if something breaks on the car, then it'll let you know. But since there's nothing wrong with my Toyota, then there's nothing to show. Now the settings tab has the most stuff built into it. You can see that I haven't even fully logged on. I have over 8,000 miles on this car, funny enough. But yeah, you can set your profile with this and put all your personal information. Again, you can add a device here. We've got a device there. And since this person doesn't own the car anymore, then delete if you want to get rid of the device. And again, you can just press that to go back to the beginning. Again, there's no Bluetooth devices, but you can see everything that's paired there. If we go into the general tab, again, it's very simplistic stuff. So you can set the time zone. You can, well, clear history. Interesting. There's nothing search there, but anyways, language, all of that. I mean, this is just basic stuff if you want to change it. And then your notifications, you can turn it off if you want, which I think is interesting. Wi-Fi hotspot, if you have that, that's a subscription based with Toyota, if I remember properly. Now this is the stuff that's probably the most important to you guys, and it's going to be the display, so how bright things are, for example, and then the camera as well. I just have everything set to default. I don't see any point in really changing it. And then media, you guys might also want to customize everything, so like the sound tuning, for example, you can change all of that. And then cover art, interesting. That's for the stations and all of that. And then you can turn off, if you don't use, like, for example, if you don't use stations, you can completely turn them off. And I'm obviously not subscribed to satellite radio, but you can resubscribe pretty easily if that's something that you want. Now you can turn this off if you don't like the whole voice prompt system, which is nice because sometimes if you're just sitting in your car and you say those words for some random reason and it tries to do stuff, it gets annoying. I have it happen in reviews all the time. Now this is why this takes forever. So with the lights, you can have it so they turn off. So you notice it'll take some time. You can have your daytime running lights on or off, and you can see with all the auto timers. So you can really customize this stuff pretty in depth as you. I mean, there's not too many options, but it's nice. And then again with the brightness of everything. And then notice here with the, so for example, you can hear the car, right? So you can set those features as well. And then to press with unlock, and you can turn it, obviously you can turn it on or off. But this is all the stuff that I feel like is kind of boring, but also very important, because if you have a setting that's set, like to press unlock, for example, some people just want to press the key once and unlocks the whole car. Other people want to press it twice so that if they're just getting in the driver door, then they're not going to unlock the rest of the car for some reason. Now this next one is if you want the seat and the steering wheel to move when you turn off the car. So for example, you can see the steering wheel moved up when I turned off the car, and then turning on, moved back down into its position. I'll wait for this to load up. And then if for some reason you don't want AC with auto, you can turn that off. But that's a lot of the basic stuff for the infotainment system. I guess the next thing that we'll show is the camera. So when you pop it into reverse, it'll automatically pop up, and it fills in underneath the vehicle with a lot of modern Toyotas. Not every single modern Toyota does this, but a lot of the modern Toyotas do it. And so it's kind of a cool little feature that you'll use for the screen. And notice the settings tab is right there. So you can press that, and then you can change what is displayed there on the camera. Now this is actually related to the camera system. So I put it in MTS mode. So this is like your off-road drive modes. And you'll notice that it changed the camera view. This is in reverse. So now it shows the sides of the vehicle, and then it shows the back view, and then also my pitch and my roll. So if you have it in regular drive versus MTS, that'll instantly change your camera view. And if you want to turn the camera on for any reason, most modern Toyotas have a little button there with that icon to turn it on. This also has Toyota's fully digital gauge cluster. The first thing is the drive modes. When you change the drive modes, whether they're the street modes or if I pop over to multi-terrain select and change the off-road mode that I'm in, it'll actually display it here in the center gauge cluster rather than in the infotainment system. Now the next thing is this little trackpad here. This controls a lot of stuff, also that little back button. But if I push to either the left or the right, it'll actually change the information that's displayed. You have 3 preset options. You can customize these preset options to display the information you want to see. If you want to change, you hold down with the OK button, and you can change the center, you can change the right side, and then you can also change the left side there. Now, if you actually scroll again to the right when you're on the right side, you'll notice that some of these are selected, some of these are not. If you have something unselected, it will not be in the little screen here. So you can see that little tab. I can switch between those different items to show. So if I unselect, it won't show up in that tab. So if there's certain things you don't care about information-wise, you don't actually have to have them there. You just go through, click it on, or click it off, and you can do that with the left side as well. Now the center tab, again, if you hold down with the OK button there, then you can change what it displays just like the other two. You get a bunch of preset options here. And once you are in either of the screens, then you can actually click through. The one that is the most important is going to be the settings tab. So this is where you're going to customize all your safety tech. So you can turn items on or off, and if you want to change settings with some of these, you actually have to hold OK and go fully into it and then customize it. So there's definitely like menus upon menus with this whole system, and this is pretty much all of the safety tech with the car. Some of them are just on off, some of them you have to change more specific things. And then you have your vehicle settings, which again you got to hold OK to go into. So you can turn that off, for example, traffic jam, also recording. Big brother, right? But again, I mean, you can see there's so many different things, like rear seat reminder. Do you need that? Your oil maintenance, do you want that to be shown? Yes or no? And then also resetting that, which is very interesting. I mean, usually I just let the dealership reset that if you have them. Well, if they're supposed to when they do a change. And then the next one is meter settings. I think this might be the most exciting to people, so hold down here. Obviously, language, you can change, you know, obviously the measurement system, but I mean, we're in the US, so we're using freedom units today. But meter type, this is the first one. So you can change from a single gauge layout. You can change to this kind of like weird simplistic where there's no real gauge around it. And then you can also do a double gauge layout. Now, I've noticed that most cars from the factory are going to have this setup right here with the double gauge layout. I think that one looks good. I personally have mine set to the single. You can also change if there's widgets or not there. So that's kind of nice. And you can see one's the radio, one's the fuel economy. Now that's just the meter type. You can also change the meter style. So I have mine set to tough, but you've got 4 different styles. Casual, Smart, and this is what you'll see with this is the Land Cruiser, this is what you see from the factory with the double gauge, and then Smart. And then you've got Tough, and then you've got Sporty. I'll set it to the double gauge and show you guys what it looks like with all of those. So here's Sporty with the double gauge layout. Here's Tough. Here's Smart. And again, this is what you'll see if you get like a new hybrid Toyota for the most part with the cars. And then Casual. Usually they'll be, most of the cars when I review them, their factory setting is either Smart or Tough, but you've got some options. And you probably thought we were done, but we have tachometer, speedometer. So you can change what the dial type is as well. And then you can also show total average or trip average with the fuel economy there, which is nice. And then drive info items, distance, time, you can change that as well. Pop-up displays. Now this one is interesting because you can turn off pretty much everything, but it's kind of nice. And then default settings, so you can press OK to restore everything to defaults if you want, if you messed up too much stuff or felt like you messed up too much stuff there. Now that little dimmer switch is for the center gauge cluster if you want to make it brighter or dimmer. And then finally we do have a heads-up display which displays basic information like your speed if you have it in adaptive cruise control and then what gear you're in. So again, pretty standard.